Greetings, HR Manager. This is a short video memo that might help you with future reports. Here is a quick update. There's a really fine line when you're doing your reports for the Chief HR Officer between two things. So we're going to talk about two fine lines. The first is when you over-rely on outside help. These days, in particular, that outside help all too often happens to be artificial intelligence. You will find that the outside help you get will do a fairly decent job of explaining and describing. More often, it repeats what we already know, but it won't help with assessment and analysis and will have difficulty giving you people-centered actions to consider. And because AI can be long-winded, it can give you a lot of words that don't say much. AI will easily fill up 2 or 3 pages. If you look at those pages critically, you might recognize that not much new is being said. Your Chief HR Officer doesn't want to spend a whole lot of time reading a bunch of stuff that we already know about. You're the HR Manager. Your job is to give a summary of a situation, a dilemma, or a problem, and then to help the Chief HR Officer understand why we need to address the issue, how we're going to do that, and what it all will cost. And the second fine line comes in right here. Your job is also to help your Chief HR Officer. You need to help them understand the issue, why it is important, why we care, what it means for us here at Manutech. This is where you need to know your audience. You must help the Chief HR Officer understand how they can share the issue and the solution with the senior leaders of the organization. After all, we need senior team support. This is a compensation and benefits class. Both of these are part of total rewards, which cost companies lots of money. For example, with Manutech, it cost us millions of dollars. That means these are not trivial decisions. Something as simple as a compensation philosophy will have a big impact on spending. It's not a trivial matter if we're going to look at internal equity, which is a very real issue for us. Making adjustments, even if we make targeted adjustments, is not a trivial matter. If you send your Chief HR Officer to a meeting with senior leaders and you don't give them specific data, they will come back empty-handed because senior leaders are not going to approve pay increases without a very good idea of the costs. One of the best ways to do this is to have examples. A good approach is to have 3 examples. First, here's an example of a group of employees who need a small adjustment and the cost. Second, here's an example of an employee from a group that needs a moderate change and the cost. And third, here's an example of an employee from a very small group of employees where we have to make a large adjustment. Of course, we need to know what issue is being solved and why we are even considering these changes. The company does not want to spend money unless absolutely necessary. We need to state the specific business reasons why we're going to do it or why we're even recommending it. And for each of these groups, this is what the spending might look like. This is the detail that we want. And then when you think about the recommendations, it's very easy to say, well, we should do this, or you should do that, or somebody should do something else. We need to know what it means. Why are we doing it? Who's going to do what by when? You're the HR manager. Don't do a handoff. Take ownership. Think about what it means for this to be operationalized. Think about what it means for this to be approved and then given back to us. And then what's our deliverable? What's our due date? What are we going to do in order to make things happen? And how are we going to communicate this with our employees so that we have a human-to-human connection to help them understand why we're doing? It is not good enough to say, adjust pay where needed and communicate that to employees. We need to know much more. You need to help the Chief HR Officer find a way to make this happen with specific ideas and action steps. Do not waste time with generic statements that no one can act on. Get specific, and let's see how we take care of these issues here at Manutech. Thank you for your time. Let me know if you have any questions. Until later.